Hi guys, how you doing? All right. I just wanted to make some comments on the Harry and Meghan interview with Oprah Winfrey, which I've watched now a couple of times. You know, when I heard about Meghan and she came to the royal family, I was really pleased. I was really looking forward to how Harry and Meghan could have been ambassadors for the UK, but not only that, could have really reached out to young people and to be an advocate for mental health, for inclusion, for engaging with people around the world, particularly young people who maybe needed a role model to look up to. So I had so many great ideas about how Meghan could really make a difference. And I have to say, I was a big fan. You know, what endeared me to Meghan the most was that she was on a walkabout I believe, in Scotland. And on that walkabout, she was spoken to by somebody in Filipino or Tagalog. And then she responded, and I believe she said salamat or thank you in Filipino. And for me, that showed that she really wanted to engage with different countries, different communities. So then I went on and I asked the person who was involved with that and who had uploaded it if I could go ahead and I could post that on my social media, which I did. This was picked up by a number of news agencies and also Vanity Fair as well. So I kind of associated myself with Harry and Meghan because I think they are great, you know, and also I understand that Meghan had cooked Filipino food before, adobo, so I was really a big fan. And then, of course, you know, they've obviously had some troubles in what their relationship with the royal family, and you know, I watched the interview, but I have to say, you know, at the start of the interview, Meghan was asked about what it was like to be in the royal family. And then she said, you don't Google about or she didn't Google about the royal family. Well, no, I don't think you had to Google to find out exactly what happened, because a lot of what goes on within the royal family is naturally private. And Meghan said she felt uncomfortable about handing over her keys, handing over her passport. And, you know, it made me think, you know, the royal family, you know, they live a life where a life of service and a life of traveling around the world and being ambassadors for the UK, you know. And then Meghan said she had to hand over her keys. Well, realistically, when was the last time you saw the Queen or any member of the royal family take the keys out of her bag and open her front door? That just didn't happen. That's just not necessary. It's not necessary for a member of the royal family to carry keys. You know, the fact is, it's just not something that's done. So why would she need the keys? And then she spoke about handing over her passport. Well, I really can imagine the scene at the airport with a member of the royal family, like the Queen, for example, although the Queen doesn't carry a passport, maybe a member of the royal family, fumbling for their bag, for their passport, and they left their passport at home. It just doesn't happen like that. When you're in the royal family, you have people around you, you have PAs, you have assistants, and all of those kind of things are done for you. All of those things that you would normally associate with normal life are managed. And then she spoke about her freedom to be able to go out. Now, I think that people have to understand that when you're a member of the royal family, you get protection. And that protection is paid for by the British taxpayer or the taxpayer in the UK. So realistically, if Meghan couldn't really pop to the shops without there having to be a security suite, there'd have to be armed police visiting in advance, there'd have to be a search team, there'd have to be dogs would go and sniff the area that she was going to visit. It's not the case that she can just pop out to the shops or pop out to the cinema, but surely she should have known that. Surely Harry should have explained that to her and told her what she was going into. And then she was talking about being an actress and being a princess and a role. Being part of the royal family is not a role. It's not like a play or a film that she's going to be involved with. You know, she'd decided to court Harry, she decided to marry Harry, and at that stage she really should have known what she was getting involved with. She really should have known that being a member of the royal family is a lifetime of service. You know, the British public can be harsh at times, and the British press can be harsh at times, because at the end of the day, not everybody supports the royal family. A lot of people bash the royal family and say that they're a waste of taxpayers' money and all of the costs of security. So you can imagine it, that if Meghan was still an active member of the royal family, every single time she flew to the States to see her friend, she would have to travel with 3 or 4 bodyguards. And that would be paid for out of the taxpayers' money. You know, I'm a supporter of the royal family. I'll say that from the offset, but she has to understand that when she joined that organisation, she can't just swan around the world every 10 minutes however she wanted to, because it has to be properly planned. You know, she's a security risk. Harry's a security risk. Any movements they make have to be properly organised and properly planned. So of course her life was going to drastically change, and I think no searching on Google would have given you that information. And then there was of course the question, and I don't know the context, that Harry then spoke to her about what shade would the baby be or what colour would the baby be. You know, I don't know exactly what was said, but you know, something like that. You know, I've got to admit, you know, when you are partners with someone, when you're going to marry someone, you know, there are some conversations. You know, if a member of your family says, I don't like them because they're this or whatever, it's not something that you would necessarily share. You know, you want to protect your partner. You don't want to tell them every single thing because you don't want to upset them. You don't want to hurt them. But of course, it's not right. Of course, questions like that are not good at all. No, nobody should be even thinking that. Having a baby or bringing a baby into the world is an absolute privilege. And, you know, race shouldn't come into it. Colour shouldn't come into it. You know, the fact is that every single human being is absolutely precious. And you know, does it really matter what shade the baby would be or what colour the baby would be or whatsoever? Does it really make any difference whatsoever? It's still it's still a child, still a baby, still a blessing, still a gift. So I'm not really sure where that came from, but I don't really think it was meant in a overtly racist way. I think it was meant more as a naivety. You know, the royal family, you know, they live in a different world to the rest of us. You know, they have privileged lives, but at the same time, they don't enjoy the same freedoms that we have. You know, they can't just jump on a bus or nip down to Tesco or nip down to the shops. You know, they live a very sheltered, a very privileged life, but also they have people around them protecting them. It's not just the royal family. They have a number of associated people looking after them. And then, of course, there was the question as well of why was the interview even done? You know, I know it was an interview they didn't get paid for, but the question is, who was benefiting from that interview and what was the reason for that interview? And then, of course, you have to look at Meghan when she said she went to HR. You know, it's not a company. You don't fill out an application form, send in your CV, and suddenly become a member of the royal family. You know, you are not an employee of the royal family. So, of course, you don't have a HR facility. The royal family don't have an HR like they're in some kind of business. Yes, for employees of the royal family, of course there's an HR department, but you wouldn't really expect a member of the royal family to be calling for that kind of advice. You know, surely there are members within the family who can give the advice that Meghan needs. You know, I just don't think they should have made this interview. I just don't think some things should have gone on record like that. Yes, of course, maybe they could. I don't know. You know, I'm a bit torn because I support the royal family. I also liked Harry and Meghan, but I just think this was maybe a step too far, and I don't think Meghan's endeared herself with the British public. I don't like the fact that the press have been harassing them and hounding them. And it brings back memories of Diana as well, and the way that Diana was treated by the press. And it also raises the mental health issue for Harry. You know, Harry's been through a lot in his life, and here he is. He's found somebody who he loves. He's introduced her to the family. But, you know, being introduced to that family means that it's going to completely and utterly change her life. She could never go back to the life that she had before. And I wonder whether that is one of the difficulties, maybe, when a member of the royal family forms a relationship with somebody. But what I did like to see was that he still paid respect to the Queen. And of course, even Meghan said that she loves the Queen. And I think that was good. There was one other thing I was going to mention as well about this curtsying. And Meghan was surprised what they do behind closed doors. But, you know, come on, Her Majesty the Queen, you know, of course you need to show her the respect, whoever you are. And of course that would be expected. I don't know what kind of fantasy land Meghan thought that she was coming into when she became a member of the royal family. I really hope that Harry had given her the full information before she signed on the dotted line. But of course, there were going to be massive changes in her life. You know, when I saw the wedding of Harry and Meghan, I was really, really touched. I think it was awesome that it was really bringing in other cultures, a different style, with the preacher that I thought was fantastic, with the young man who played the cello, which I also thought was fantastic. And this was really diversifying the royal family and bringing the royal family into the 21st century. And I thought this was going to be so great. And Meghan would be such a fantastic role model for inner city kids. And I really have a lot now. I really feel now that in some way we've all been let down. You know, Meghan should be able to live her life, and so should Harry, how they want to live their life, and good luck to them. You know, they need to pay for their security. They've decided to go down a commercial route, but the fact is Harry is still a prince and will always be a prince, you know, and Meghan is the mother of the children of a prince, so nobody should disrespect her for that. She's bringing children, or brought a child into the world who's a member of the royal family, and that also needs to be respected. I just wish the press had kind of left them alone. I think the problem is that the media is always craving for stories and is always clickbait. It's to sell newspapers. And unfortunately, I have to say, I'm very sorry to say this, there are a lot of racists in the UK. There are a lot of people who don't want Meghan in the royal family because she's of a person of colour. But, you know, come on, you know, Harry should have been able to marry whoever he wanted. It's nobody's business who Harry chose to marry. Does it really matter at all if she's a person of colour? No, it's a good thing. You know, I had so many hopes of Meghan. I was a really big supporter of Meghan and Harry. I thought it would be such a wonderful thing, but unfortunately they've been harassed by the press. And, you know, there's always going to be, any single time that a member of the royal family steps out of line, the likes of the Daily Mail would really pander to the racists. The Daily Mail would really try and dish the dirt, or make the royal family look bad, or make Harry and Meghan look bad, or make Meghan look like she's an outsider. But the fact is, Harry loved her. Harry married somebody who he loved and who he wanted to be with. And who is the Daily Mail to decide whether that's right or wrong? I really have an issue with the Daily Mail, because they are constantly putting out all this clickbait, all this media to pander to racists, and it really, really annoys me. I really hope that the Daily Mail can be brought to task, because they are really not helping the royal family. They're not helping Harry and Meghan. And yes, I sympathise for Harry. He's a charming young man. He's been through a great deal in his life, and I have a great deal of sympathy for him. And I just feel very, very sorry. I just feel sorry over the relationship between Harry and William and the relationship between Harry and his father, Prince Charles. It's just like a young man really has found a girlfriend or a partner. He wants to marry her, but really she should have known every single detail about what she was letting herself in for. And it's not something Meghan could have just Googled like she thought she would, because of course until you become a member of that family you don't know the full circumstances, you don't know what you're letting yourself in for. And I just feel that she was not informed enough, or maybe misinformed. I just think it was a really, really sad state of affairs. But to see their dirty laundry aired on TV in America, in the UK, at such a difficult time when Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, is in hospital, the Queen's not getting any younger. I just don't know whether this was the right time. Maybe it was something they could have written a book about, but to come out in some big exclusive interview with Oprah Winfrey, it's just, I think it's an embarrassment to the royal family. But again, I support Harry, I support Meghan, I sympathise with Harry. I just think it's a sad state of affairs, and I don't know what the future will hold. But to be honest, I'm worried now. I'm worried about the future of the monarchy. I'm worried now about the future of the royal family, particularly with Charles when he becomes king, with all these allegations that there was a time where he wasn't even talking to his own son. I don't think this is a good thing. Anyway, guys, I hope you're okay with my comments. I just felt that I had to get it off my chest. Thank you very much for watching.